Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, former Nigerian Vice President and People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate in the 2019 general elections, Atiku Abubakar, denies threatening to lead massive protests over claims by INEC that it did not transmit the result of the elections to a dedicated server. President Buhari vows to rid Katsina state of bandits and kidnappers to enable residents move without fear or intimidation. And hundreds of thousands protest in Hong Kong against controversial extradition bill despite suspension of the bill. I am Nten Ekbang with details of these and many more stories. But before we launch our first story, let's bring you excerpts of the Kogi State Healthcare Plus program in this special package.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Kotonkafri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly. And as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breach. She was already in labor, so she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick too. He said, "I been no sick for me. Funny, picking, land and way. Once he told you me, back over lower me. Èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà kò sí problem wọ́n attend mi gidigidi wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o nurse àti doctor Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ o Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o wájú ní wọn lọ kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o.
In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program. And we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure. And we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
And to our lead story now, former Nigerian Vice President and People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate in the 2019 general elections, Atiku Abubakar, has denied threatening to lead a massive protest over claims by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that it did not transmit the results of the elections to a dedicated server. A Twitter handle claiming to be that of the People's Democratic Party support group tweeted a quote it attributed to Atiku on Saturday evening. The statement by an alleged PDP support group quoted Atiku as saying, "My server results are authentic, and if justice frustrates the justice, we will take over the streets. I will lead all Nigerians in a massive protest that mankind have never witnessed before." End of quote. But Atiku insisted on Sunday morning he never made such comments. He said the quote purportedly attributed to him is fake and the handiwork of mischief makers. Abubakar and PDP had filed an application seeking access to inspect the server and data of smart card readers used by the electoral body in the conduct of the election. In their petition, they stated that by the figures obtained from INEC's server, they won the presidential election against Buhari, and the third respondent, the All Progressives Congress, the APC. Based on the figures allegedly obtained from the server, Abubakar said he scored 18,356,732 votes as against those of Buhari, who he said polled 16,741,430 votes. Abubakar alleged that the INEC chairman committed grave errors in the final collation exercise for the election by falsely crediting some persons with political parties, including Okotie Christopher, Reverend Dr. Onwuboya, and Ojinika Jeff Chinze. Oche told the tribunal that the inspection of the server and data was necessary for the interest of justice, transparency, and neutrality on the part of the first respondent, INEC. But the INEC counsel, Yunus Usman, vehemently opposed the application for the inspection of the server. He said that the application should be dismissed because we do not have a server. The European Union Election Observation Mission, EUEOM, to Nigeria has submitted its final report on the 2019 elections, saying that the overall elections were marked by severe operational and transparency shortcomings, security problems, and low turnout. The chief observer of the EUEOM, Maria Arena, while presenting the report in Abuja, said that the mission concluded that the systematic and systemic failings seen in the elections and the relatively low levels of voter participation showed the need for fundamental electoral reform. Such reform, the EUEOM noted, needs political leadership that is dedicated to the rights of Nigerian citizens and an inclusive process of national dialogue involving state institutions, parties, civil society, and the media. But the spokesperson for All Progressives Congress APC Presidential Campaign Organization for the 2019 election, Festus Keyamo, has faulted the report of the EUEOM, saying that some aspects of it were vague. Keyamo also took a swipe at the opposition regarding the publishing of the results on the website of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, saying the opposition were waiting for the publishing in order to avail them the opportunity to hack the server if available. The EUEOM report came a day after INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu said steps were already being taken to reform the nation's electoral process ahead of the 2023 polls. Yakubu stated that recommendations to be provided by the EUEOM in his report will form major inputs in the areas of reform expected to be submitted to the National Assembly. However, the EUEOM noted that INEC worked in a difficult environment and made some improvements, such as simplifying voting procedures. The EUEOM further said that the elections became increasingly marred by violence and intimidation, with the role of the security agencies becoming more contentious as the process progressed. Out of the 30 recommendations the EUEOM brought forward for consideration, it said priority should be placed on strengthening INEC procedures for the collation of results to improve integrity and confidence in the electoral outcomes. The EUEOM also called for the establishment of requirements in law for the full transparency with data easily accessible to the public. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured the European Union, EU, of improved elections in the future. The president made this promise while welcoming the report of the EU on the 2019 elections in Nigeria, saying that he would analyze it fully and act on the recommendations. Buhari, in a statement signed by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, noted that the EU observers had been invited to the country by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and welcomed by his government. The EU had noted in its report that there were marked improvements from previous elections, although stating that more work needed to be done. The president therefore assured that his administration will work with all Nigerian citizens, state institutions, parties, civil society, the media and other experts to make sure that the improvements recommended by the EU are implemented and that these areas of concern are addressed. He said it was noteworthy that INEC is in receipt of a number of recommendations that formed part of the EU report. Director General of the Voice of Nigeria VOA and Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC Osita Okechukwu has declared the report of the European Union Observer Mission on 2019 general elections as vindication for the APC. He told reporters in Enugu on Sunday that some of them have been vindicated, as the position had been that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) did not generate 2019 election results from server. Okechukwu said he was glad to hear the Deputy Chief of Observer Mission, Hannah Roberts, agreeing with the reality of relying on results that were released by INEC. On the reports where the EU Election Observer Mission pointed out systematic failing in the polls and the relatively low levels of voter participation and called for fundamental electoral reforms, Okechukwu said he is in league with a statement emanating from the presidency that President Buhari will work with all citizens, state institutions, civil society, the media and other experts to make sure that there will be proper electoral reforms. He appealed to INEC to gradually commence the introduction of e-voting in the off-cycle state elections as preparatory grounds for the full implementation of the electronic voting system. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has reiterated its resolve to correct some of the mistakes made during the 2019 elections and apply the lessons learned from some of the successes recorded in improving the regime of the electoral process. National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee Festus Okoye stated this during the state-level review of the 2019 general elections at INEC State Office in Makurdi, Benue State. Okoye said in evaluating and reviewing its performance in the election, the Commission is demonstrating its commitment to humane, credible and democratic conduct of elections in Nigeria. He explained that the electoral legal framework for the management and conduct of elections in Nigeria must be aligned and realigned to accord with the lessons and realities of the 2019 elections. The INEC Commissioner said the Commission will present alternatives to the Nigerian people, including alteration of the constitutional regime that ties registration of political parties to visible, verifiable and concrete presence and structures in at least half of the states of the Federation. On management and conduct of party primaries, INEC said it will design and test-run a new framework for the monitoring of the primaries of political parties, noting that the Commission will henceforth tie the acceptance of the list of candidates of political parties emanating from party primaries to the authentication of the results of the outcome of the state primaries. Okoye said movement of materials to the various centers will be scientifically and logically done, adding that the Commission will evolve a new regime of hiring vehicles for the movement and reversal of personnel and materials. No fewer than 10 political parties in Zamfara State have condemned the petition by the Action People's Party APP seeking the nullification of the election of the state governor Bello Matawalle of the People's Democratic Party PDP. The political parties are ADP, RP, SDP, ID, HD, ASD, MMN, NAC, COA, and Fresh all took part in the March 9 governorship election in the state. They described the petition by the APP governorship candidate Zayanu Haske as selfish and against the will of God. Speaking on behalf of the parties, the state chairman Alliance for Democracy, Alhaji Musa Maimai, said they are not part of the petition because it lacks merit and bemoaned the action of the APP candidate, whom he said is carrying out a bland position which is not right. Maimai, who is also the Secretary Inter-Party Advisory Council IPAC in Zamfara State Chapter, added that Zayanu Haske made a mistake in going to the tribunal. He said many notable and prominent elders and leaders from Zamfara State, including Senator Ahmed Sani Yerima, have extended their hands of fellowship to the new administration and urged everyone to rally around the government to help it succeed. Ijaw Elders Forum, in collaboration with other relevant groups, has tasked all relevant authorities in Bayelsa State, especially the State Independent Electoral Commission, BCEC, to ensure the conduct of a credible, violence-free local government election in order to bring governance closer to the people. The group also called on the state government to conduct full investigation into the circumstances that led to the sudden resignation of the chairman of the state electoral umpire, Dr. Perekeme Betola, a few weeks to the conduct of the elections on the grounds of alleged threat to his life. The group insisted that the culprits must be brought to book, calling on the authorities to address the misgivings expressed against the appointment of Mr. Bal Oyarede as the new chairman of BCEC, based on allegations that he is a member of the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the state. In a statement made available to newsmen, he said steps must be taken to pursue and enforce the collective vigilance of the local elections and the gubernatorial elections following afterwards in the year. The collective resolve to reject imposition, violence, and electoral manipulation both at the inter-party level and election days was loudly sounded by the Ijaw movement. The group also dismissed as unconstitutional and invalid the current caretaker committee put in place by the state government since 2016 in place of duly elected chairman to be in charge of local government administration. Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi has promised that his administration will soon recommence payment of stipends to indigent, aged, and physically challenged people. This, Fayemi said, will bring succor as well as accelerate the standard of living of Ekiti people and address the trend of poverty. He disclosed that the beneficiaries will be drawn from the single register of the poor and vulnerable households in the state. The single register, the governor said, contains the list of all identified households living below globally accepted poverty line. Fayemi spoke at the flag of the engagement of the third batch of the Youth Empowerment and Social Support Operation ESO/Public Workfare Scheme in Ifaki, Ekiti. Fayemi, who was represented by the Deputy Governor Tumba BC Egbeyemi, restated the commitment of the administration to fighting poverty and giving economic empowerment to the people. He described the World Bank assisted scheme as laudable and a measure to combat poverty which does not respect partisan politics. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has declared that his government will boost the agriculture sector to achieve accelerated development of the state in the next 4 years. Governor Makinde was speaking during an event at Erua and said that his administration will revive the farm settlements and leverage on the agricultural value chain to turn the fortunes of the state around. Makinde, according to a statement by his Chief Press Secretary Taiwo Adisa, said the administration, realizing that the state is rich in farming potential, will use agriculture as a focal point of contact for development. The governor also said his government will take full advantage of the agriculture value chain so as to bring the desired benefit to the government and the people. The National Youth Council of Nigeria, NYCN, has called on the federal government to establish a dedicated center with the sole responsibility of curtailing the prevalence of suicides in the country. Mr. Bello Shagari, the council's president, made the appeal in a statement issued in Sokoto on Sunday. Shagari said the rate at which Nigerians, especially the youth, were committing suicide in the country was worrisome. He appealed to Nigerians, especially the youth, to desist from taking their own lives regardless of the conditions they find themselves. He said although the poverty level in the country may be a major factor which leads to such acts, he was confident that the government is doing everything possible to ensure the better future of Nigeria. He further called on the state governments to find immediate remedies to stop the rise in suicides in the country. You're still watching the news coming to you from Clearview Television. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the rest of the news. Please stay with us.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from primary health center Jegubeki to General Hospital Kotonkafri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly, and as a midwife I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan and it was complete breach. She was already in labor, so she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick and so he said I've been most sick when became land and way. Once he told you me, back over lower me. Èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà kò sí problem wọ́n attend mi gidigidi wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o nurse àti doctor Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ o Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o wájú ní wọn lọ kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o. In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program, and we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure, and we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
Welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed to rid Katsina state of bandits and kidnappers so that its residents can move about without fear or intimidation. The president, who spoke on Saturday at the fourth convocation ceremony of the Federal University Dutsima Katsina, said the war against banditry and criminality involves several covert security operations not easily accessible by the people, hence the need to reassure the residents of Katsina State that something urgently is being done to address their plight. He also urged Nigerian universities to intensify efforts at making discoveries and inventions that can assist the development of the country. The president, represented by Professor Hafiz Abubakar, former Deputy Governor of Kano State, said that part of the speech will serve as a wake-up call to the nation's universities. He challenged the universities for being slow in the aspect of discoveries and invention. He, however, said his administration will continue to do everything possible to improve structures and facilities in the institutions and to enhance learning by training the required manpower through various interventions like TED Fund. Yoruba Council of Elders YCE on Saturday asked the Inspector General of Police, IGP Muhammad Adamu, to combat the rampant brutality that is common among the policemen in the country. The sociocultural group said the convention globally has been that the policeman must respect the dignity of every citizen by refraining from actions that could either dehumanize or demean humanity by their actions. It made a demand in a statement. Its Secretary General Dr. Kunle Olajide, issued in Ado-Ekiti, condemning the police over the injury its men allegedly inflicted on some pro-democracy champions in Lagos, Oyo, and Ogun State on June 12. Olajide said it was antithetical to democratic norms for peaceful rallies organized by those perceived to be opposition to mark June 12 celebration to have allegedly been disrupted by the cops and rainy guys. He said some policemen allegedly disrupted rallies tagged "Enough is Enough" held in the concerned state on Democracy Day. The Nigerian Army at the Division 6, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has opened a trial for 14 accused persons, including a major, 2 captains, and 11 soldiers for various offenses, including murder and kidnapping. General Officer Commanding 6th Division Major General Jamil Saham said before inaugurating a 7-man court-martial to try the accused persons on Saturday that the development was in line with the established law and was to serve justice for the accused, the victims, the state, and keep the army disciplined. Saham said the offenses for which the accused are being tried range from murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, desertion, offenses in relation to public and service property, disobedience to standing orders, and conduct to the prejudice to self-discipline, all punishable under the Armed Forces Act Cap A20 Law of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. The establishment of court-martial is predicated on the fact that the Armed Forces of Nigeria holds its personnel in high esteem, hence its resolve to ensure that a thorough investigation must be conducted before any suspect can be put on trial, as it is in the case. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, president of the African Development Bank, AFDB, says Nigeria has all it takes to be a powerhouse in food and agriculture on the African continent. Adesina, who said this on the sidelines of the bank's annual meeting in Malabo, expressed delight that the country had introduced a lot of agricultural initiatives to boost food production. According to him, this will go a long way in ensuring food security in Nigeria and the continent at large. Adesina said that with President Muhammadu Buhari's led federal government and its present focus on agriculture, it will further boost the nation's economy. The AFDB president said though the country was just coming out of recession, it was positive that the future was bright economically as Nigeria addresses critical structural problems of energy, infrastructure, and making agriculture business work. He said the bank was putting in over $320 million in the north of Nigeria with a northeast reconstruction effort to build more hospitals, construct more roads, and support a lot of displaced people in the area. The African Development Bank, the AFDB, has expressed optimism that Nigeria, the largest economy on the African country, will soon ratify the Continental Free Trade Area CFTA agreement. The Director of Industrial and Trade Development of AFDB, Dr. Abdul Mukhtar, said this in an interview with newsmen on Sunday. The CFTA was adopted on March 21, 2018 and has presently been ratified by 22 countries. It seeks to create a single market for goods and services and movement of persons to deepen economic integration of the continent, among others. According to Mukhtar, Nigeria is an important country for the CFTA, and for the agreement to be effective, useful, and really worthwhile, Nigeria has to be part of the agreement. He added that information at his disposal indicates that Nigeria will soon conclude consultations with relevant stakeholders with a view to ratifying the agreement. Mukhtar, however, said that the AFDB was working to ensure the success of the CFTA and had gotten approval from its board of directors to support submissions of the CFTA Secretariat. Ogun State Governor Prince Dakpo Abiodun has pledged his administration's unwavering commitment towards revamping the healthcare system at all levels in the state. Abiodun, who was represented by his wife Bamidele Abiodun, stated this at the flag-off ceremony of the second round of polio outbreak response campaign at the Ijebu-Ode Local Government Secretariat, Itoro, Ijebu-Ode. The governor, who acknowledged the critical role of child's health in the growth and economic development of any society, assured of his commitment towards ensuring a minimum of one flagship primary health center per ward across the state in the first 100 days of his administration. He explained that immunization has greatly reduced to the barest minimum the infant mortality rate among children between the ages of 0 to 5 years, which he attributed to the improved level of education and awareness in the society. He said the polio outbreak response campaign was key to improving the immunity of children against type 2 oral poliovirus that could cause paralysis and even death among the children. Now, every third Sunday in June is observed as Father's Day to especially honor and celebrate fatherhood. Clearview TV's religious affairs correspondent was at the Foursquare Gospel Church, Kurudu, where they marked the Father's Day in Grand Star. The report.
Father's Day is traditionally spelled as singular because fathers are celebrated as individuals who relate to their respective families. Fatherhood is not only biological, as men who guide, provide, protect, and perform fatherly roles are expected of father figures. Many believe that in today's world, the Christian father should stand out as godly agent for instilling righteousness in his family. In an exclusive interview, Ayawu Matthew, the president of Council of Foursquare Men Kurudu, highlighted the key role of a godly father.
So a father should be able to instill all this to his home, okay? By loving his family, by caring for them, by bringing the word of God to them. Because without the word, we're empty. Even if you say you are a Christian, that you give your life to Christ, you need something to refuel and rejuvenate your life every day. And that thing that you need is just the word. Is the word and fellowship with brethren that give you the spiritual growth that is needed.
Father's Day is an opportunity for all women and men to send greetings and say thank you to the men that have played fatherly role towards them, since fatherhood is also a privilege that comes with various responsibilities.
A man is somebody that will go to another person's house and say, "Sir, I want to marry your daughter." And you'll be able to carry that baby and take care of her.
Chinedu Mbatwegu reporting for Clearview Television.
The Praying Women International Foundation, PWIF, this Sunday gathered at the Good Tidings Bible Church to round up this year's prayer feast tagged Scaling the Heights. Clearview TV's religious affairs correspondent Chinedu Mbatwegu was at the event and our reports.
Praying Women International Foundation, PWIF, is an international organization with its headquarters in Abuja. It serves as a center for the equipping of women who will in turn equip the world. This year's event was tagged Scaling the Heights. In a keynote address, Pastor Bolu Olutayo, President PWFI, harped on the theme Scaling the Heights.
Your real self that cannot be arrested by anything. Your real self that no barricades can block. You know why? Because you, if you are born of God, you are like the wind.
In an interview with Clearview TV, Bolu Olutayo, President PWFI, Buki Jayesimi, a women advocacy initiative speaker, expressed satisfaction on this year's prayer feast.
I wish I could reinvent words to express what happened in this prayer, in this year's prayer feast. I have not found the right word to put it together. It's something I can't describe with any word in English because it was power-packed, unusual, very, very unusual. And you can even feel the atmosphere has changed.
I'm excited that the fallout, the impact, the show of what God has done, how it will begin to unfold in the future. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to see it happening in the lives of the women, the men, and the children.
The Praying Women Foundation, as an organization, says it is out to help emancipate, empower, and equip women to enable them attain great heights in life. Chinedu Mbatwegu reporting for Clearview Television.
And up next is time for a break. We'll bring you foreign and sport news when we come back. Please stay with us.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center Jegubeki to General Hospital Kotonkafri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly, and as a midwife I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breach with already in labor. So she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick he said I've been sick only picking land and way. Once it told you me, back over lower me. Èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà kò sí problem wọ́n attend mi gidigidi wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o nurse àti doctor Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ o Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o wájú ní wọn lọ kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o.
In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program, and we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure, and we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
Welcome back. On the foreign scene, hundreds of thousands of people are protesting in Hong Kong against a controversial extradition bill, despite the bill having been suspended. The densely packed crowds are demanding that the bill, which would allow extradition from Hong Kong to mainland China, be completely scrapped. The region's leader, Carrie Lam, on Saturday delayed the plans after several mass protests this week. Ms. Lam faces call to resign over the unrest. Many protesters expressed concern at increased China influence over the territory. The protests have so far remained peaceful, in contrast to the previous major demonstrations on Wednesday, which saw clashes between protesters and police that injured dozens. By early Sunday afternoon, large crowds had gathered in the city's Victoria Square, many wearing black or carrying white flowers. Organizers said they hoped more than 1 million people will attend, though no formal estimates of the crowd have yet been made. The progress of the march was slow as the large numbers of people blocked many streets and crowded train stations. Many held white flowers to mourn a protester who fell to his death on Saturday from a ledge, where hours earlier he had unfurled his an anti-extradition ban. Saudi Arabia has blamed its rival Iran for the recent attacks on oil tankers along a key shipping route in the Gulf. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman says his country won't hesitate to tackle any threat as tensions continue to rise in the region. On Thursday, 2 tankers were attacked in the Gulf of Oman, a month after 4 others were targeted off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. The U.S. has also blamed the attacks on Iran, which denies any involvement. On Saturday, the head of the world's biggest international shipping association said some firms had ordered their ships not to enter the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman as a result of the attacks. Jacob Larson, head of maritime security at BIMCO, said military escorts for tankers could be organized if the situation worsened. The U.S. has produced a video it suggests shows Iranian forces in a small boat taking an unexploded mine off the hull of one of the ships following Thursday's attacks, but it has not provided evidence for Iran's alleged involvement in the previous attacks within UAE territorial waters. Relations between the U.S. and Iran have deteriorated significantly since U.S. President Donald Trump took office in 2017. He abandoned a nuclear deal and significantly tightened sanctions on Iran. The U.K. has said responsibility for Thursday's attacks almost certainly lies with Iran. 2 of the candidates who until recently had been tipped as favorites to win Sunday's election in Guatemala were not on the ballot papers. Both former Attorney General Thelma Aldana and Zuri Rios, the daughter of the late military ruler Elfren Rios Montt, have been barred from running for the presidency, and another candidate was arrested in Miami on suspicion of conspiring to import cocaine to the U.S. A president is elected by absolute majority for a single 4-year term. Under Guatemalan law, current President Jimmy Morales cannot stand for a second term. If no candidate gets more than 50% in the first round on 16th June, the top 2 candidates will go through a second round on 11th of August. 19 candidates are competing for the presidency, down from the original 24. Sandra Torres, 63, is hoping it will be the 3rd time lucky for her. She failed in her 2 previous attempts to be elected president, but the most recent opinion polls put her in the lead. Ms. Torres was married to Alvaro Colom, who governed Guatemala from 2008 to 2012 and who is currently under investigation for alleged fraud. She divorced him in 2011 in order to bypass a law which banned close relatives of the president from succeeding him. At the time, she said she was divorcing her husband and getting married to the people. She also said that she had found it very difficult to leave her loving marriage to Mr. Com in 2011, her candidacy was rejected by the Constitutional Court, but she was allowed to run in 2015. That time, she had enough votes to get her into second round, where she was defeated by Jimmy Morales by a large margin of almost 35% points. Ms. Torres is running for the Social Democratic National Unity of Hope Party. She and her party are under investigation for alleged illegal campaign financing during the last election, which she has denied. Ms. Torres says she will provide comprehensive solutions like development, fight against poverty and job opportunities to try to convince Guatemalans to stay in the country rather than migrating to the United States. The wife of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has admitted to misuse of state funds and have to pay $15,000. Sarah Netanyahu was accused of spending $99,300 on outside catering while falsely declaring there were no cooks available at the PM's residence. She was charged with fraud and breach of trust last year. Her lawyer said the case had nothing to do with her and said it was an attempt to bring her husband down. Under a plea deal, Mrs. Netanyahu will repay the state $12,490 and pay a fine of $2,777. She will have a criminal record, though the charges she faces were reduced, the Jerusalem Post reported. Now, prosecutor Erez Padan said that the prosecution had made significant concessions that led to a balanced and right plea deal. He said the compromise had saved the court from calling on 80 witnesses. Last year, Mrs. Netanyahu's lawyers argued that she had not been made aware of the procedures about outside catering and that the meals had been ordered by the household manager and served to visiting dignitaries. In 2016, a court awarded $47,000 in damages to a former housekeeper who accused Mrs. Netanyahu of workplace abuse. The court accepted many Naftali's claim that he had been insulted and verbally abused. US President Donald Trump has once again criticized London Mayor Sadiq Khan, calling him a national disgrace who is destroying the UK's capital. His comments came after 5 violent attacks in London in less than 24 hours left 3 men dead and 3 injured. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn said it was absolutely awful. Mr. Trump was using the tragedy of people being murdered to attack the mayor. Police have increased patrols in the capital following the attacks. President Trump's tweets follow a long-running feud with Khan, retweeting a post by right-wing commentator Cathy Hopkins about this weekend's violence in London. The president said Mr. Khan was a disaster and the capital needed a new mayor. Trump later followed it up with another post saying he is a national disgrace who is destroying the city of London. In response, Mr. Khan's spokesman said the mayor's thoughts were with the victim's family and he's not going to waste his time responding to this sort of tweet. The mayor was focused on supporting the city's communities and overstretched emergency services. He added, Khan later tweeted, violent crime has no place in the city and there's no higher priority for him than London's safety. A massive electrical failure has left all of Argentina and Uruguay without power, according to a major Argentine electricity provider. Reports said the power cut had also affected parts of Brazil and Paraguay. Argentine media said the power cut occurred shortly after 7 o'clock in the morning, causing trains to be halted and failures with traffic signaling. It came as people in parts of Argentina were preparing to go to the polls for local elections. Argentina's Energy Secretary Gustavo Lopetegui said the cause of the power failure had not yet been determined. He said the power was being restored to some parts of the country, but added that the process could take several hours. Edeso said the power had been restored to parts of Benones. Uruguay's energy company UT said in a tweet that power had been restored to coastal areas. The combined population of Argentina and Uruguay is about 48 million people. Among the affected provinces in Argentina were Santa Fe, San Luis, Formosa, La Rioja, Chubut, Cordoba, and Mendoza. Social media reports of the power were widespread from the capital Benones in the north to Mendoza in the west and Comodoro Rivadavia in the south, among many other cities. Residents posted pictures of the dark towns and cities using the hashtag St. Louis. Up next is News Break. When we come back, it's going to be time for sports. Stay with Clearview TV News.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Kotonkafri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly. And as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here It's a breech presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan and it was complete breech. It was already in labor, so she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick and so he said I've been most sick when picking land and way. Wọ́n sì tọ́jú mi, wọn ò gbà kó bọ́ lọ́wọ́ mi, èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà, kò sí pírọ́blẹ́mù, wọ́n àtẹ́ǹdì mi gidigidi, wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o, Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Nọ́ọ̀sì àti dókítà Ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o, Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o, kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ o, Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o, wájúwájú ní wọn lọ, kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o, ó ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o.
In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program. And we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure. And we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
Welcome back. And in sports, Sadio Mane will miss Senegal's opening Africa Cup of Nations fixture against Tanzania due to a suspension, according to Teranga Lions coach Aliou Cisse. It will set out their Group C fixture at the 30th June Stadium in Cairo on June 23, after picking up 2 yellow cards during the qualifying campaign. Mane picked up a yellow card in Senegal's 1-0 victory against Equatorial Guinea in Malabo on November 17, and also another booking in a 2-0 victory over Madagascar on March 23. Senegal departed for Egypt on Saturday, having previously been at a training camp in Alicante. After missing the opener, Mane will return for the showdown with Algeria on June 27 and their final group stage clash against Kenya on July 1. The tournament will be Mane's 3rd Africa Cup of Nations. He missed the decisive penalty in Senegal's quarter-final shootout defeat by eventual champions Cameroon in 2017 and was a mute presence as the Lions were eliminated in the group stage of the World Cup. Maurizio Sarri has left Chelsea to become manager of Serie A champions Juventus on a 3-year deal. Sarri, who joined the Blues from Napoli in July 2018, led them to 3rd in the Premier League and won the Europa League in his 1 season in charge. It is understood a compensation fee in excess of £5 million has been agreed between the two clubs for the 60-year-old. Sarri will replace fellow Italian Massimiliano Allegri, who left Juventus at the end of last season. He signed a 3-year deal last July, but now becomes the 9th full-time manager to leave Chelsea under Roman Abramovich, who bought the club in 2003. The Stamford Bridge club are unable to sign any players after being given a 2-window transfer ban by the world governing body FIFA, a decision they are appealing against at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. After earning glowing references for his tactics at Napoli, he looked to have effectively introduced Sarri ball to his new players as Chelsea started their Premier League campaign with a 12-game unbeaten streak. But the Blues were out of the title contention after losing 3 out of 4 Premier League games from January to February, including a 6-0 defeat at eventual champions Manchester City, which saw them slip to 6th in the table. Chelsea then lost 2-0 at home to Manchester United in the FA Cup when fans booed the Italians' substitution and joined when the visiting supporters sang "You Are Getting Sacked" in the morning. However, Sarri remained in charge, and of the 19 matches played after they were beaten on penalties in the Carabao Cup final by Manchester City, his side lost just 2 as they won their first European trophy since securing the Europa League in 2012-2013. Argentines' bid to reach a 3rd straight Copa America final began with a 2-0 loss against Colombia, a first defeat to their South American rivals in 12 years. Roger Martinez and Duvan Zapata scored in the final 20 minutes after an Argentine side featuring Lionel Messi and Sergio Aguero had dominated. Messi, 31, said the Group B defeat left his side feeling bitter. Argentina have won the tournament 14 times, second only to Uruguay, but have not triumphed since 1993 and lost the last 2 finals on penalties against Chile. Barcelona's Messi missed his side's best chance to score in Salvador, heading a rebound wide after David Ospina had saved from Manchester City defender Nicolas Otamendi. Colombia, managed by former Portugal and Real Madrid head coach Carlos Queiroz, scored both of their goals against the run of play. Substitute Martinez cut in from the left and drove his effort into the top corner in the 71st minute after being set up by James Rodriguez. Zapata, who scored 23 goals to help his Italian side Atalanta qualify for the Champions League for the first time last season, sealed the win with a late close-range effort, having replaced captain Radamel Falcao. Marc Marquez capitalized on a crash that took out 4 of his rivals to win at the Catalonia circuit and extend his MotoGP title lead. George Lorenzo slid on the second lap in Barcelona and in the process ended the races of Andre Dovizioso, Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales. Spaniard Marquez avoided the crash and took his 4th victory in 7 races this season. The win moved Marquez 37 points clear of Dovizioso in the overall standings. Marquez said he felt sorry for Andre, Maverick and Valentino because they were fighting for the championships. And Fabio Quartararo, who started on pole position, finished in 2nd place with Danilo Petrucci in 3rd. Round 8 of the 20th series takes place in Assen, Netherlands on June 30. Ukraine came from behind to beat South Korea 3-1 and win their first Under-20 World Cup. The match in Lodz, Poland featured 2 teams playing in the final for the first time in their history. South Korea led through an early penalty which Lee Kang-in fired past Real Madrid goalkeeper Andre Lunin. But Vladislav Soprihia scored either side of the halftime and Dynamo Kiev clubmate Heor Hili sped away to add a late 3rd. Korea almost equalized at 2-1, but 20-year-old Lunin, who spent last season on loan with Leganés in La Liga, brilliantly tipped Lee Jae-ik's header onto the crossbar. Ukraine, who did not qualify in 2017, topped a group containing the USA, Nigeria and Qatar before beating Panama 4-1 in the last 16, Colombia 1-0 in the quarterfinal, and Italy 1-0 in the semis. Norway's Erling Braut won the Golden Boot with 9 goals, all in one game, in a 12-0 group win over Honduras, his side's last game of the tournament. Defending champions England failed to qualify for the finals. And just before we go, let's look at the stories that made headlines. Former Nigerian Vice President and People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate in the 2019 election, Atiku Abubakar, has denied threatening to lead a massive protest over claims by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) that it did not transmit the result of the elections to a dedicated server. President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed to rid Katsina State of bandits and kidnappers so that its residents can move about without fear or intimidation. And hundreds of thousands of people are protesting in Hong Kong against a controversial extradition bill, despite the bill having been suspended. And as the news, remember you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Natcomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Nten Ekbang. Many thanks for watching.